What's up, bitches?
Let's talk about crime.
What's up, bitches?
Hello.
That was weird.
Sorry. I unmuted my mic and not hers.
She has one job, and it's to run the soundboard part. Because I do the research, so she runs the soundboard, and she failed at her job. No, I'm just kidding.
It's fine.
So just saying hello. We don't have a lot to talk about because this is another one of those times where we're pre-recording a couple in a row because I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks. So I have to pre-record because I can't record with her. She's not with me.
Yeah, because
so
Trisha's going to fucking Disneyland.
I'm going to California.
She's going to fucking Disneyland.
With a day trip to Disney. I mean, not a day. Why
to Disneyland.
Why do I say a
Or
day
just
trip? It's the whole goddamn day that I'm going to Disneyland.
But again, it's
Yes.
Disneyland.
But you said, please go on Tiana's Bayou for me. And I said, I'll wait.
And actually, what I actually said was, please go to the new store because I have a fucking laundry list of things for you to buy for me. Thank you.
At that downtown Disney. So we are going to probably...
D store.
So we're going to go to downtown Disney probably on Friday night for dinner anyways, because we like to do that, you know?
Great. So I'm going to tell my whole entire work I have to be on standby on my phone.
It'll be the evening. You'll be off work.
Bullshit.
No. Seriously, because we can't go until Dad gets off work.
Well, other update. TikTok's back, motherfuckers.
TikTok's back. So
I literally, guys, okay. I think just like every other fucking American, I'm addicted to TikTok to the point where last night I was bored and went to TikTok and it was like, sorry, no service. And I was like, motherfucker, because I forgot.
And you're like,
this
what
morning,
am I supposed to do with myself?
Dude, this morning I woke up. I was like, I don't really want to watch TV, but I don't really want to get out of bed. So I went to go to TikTok. Fucking no service. So I was like, God damn it. And then I just went to TikTok and it was like, welcome back. And I was like, yes.
Listen, I'm not gonna be that political person, but I am gonna say one thing about the TikTok thing. For any of you who are listening, who found us through TikTok, thank you. Because TikTok works in that way. For those of you who don't have TikTok or have never used it.
Also, bravo to you because it's fucking addicting.
But I'm going to say this. It's not about TikTok.
Right.
It wasn't. And the people who were upset about the TikTok ban, it's not about TikTok itself being banned.
It's the bullshit behind TikTok.
It's the trash.
Right.
It's the fake bullshit that our government has decided to spew to try to, in my opinion, control us. And I know people think that sounds dumb, but here's why. I am a prime example of somebody who uses TikTok for fun. Like I peruse TikTok for fun, but I also use TikTok to find out truth. Yeah. I have found out more truth on that app than I have anywhere else because they really I find personal stories that people have been going through in their real life that are politicized in the media. Mm-hmm. So a good example is the California fires or the Hurricane Helene. I have my sister-in-law is from Tennessee, and Tennessee was hit by this hurricane. However, when the media would talk about it, it was like, oh, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. We're there to help. But then people who actually lived in Tennessee and North Carolina were like, no, the fuck you weren't. First of all, you're not here. You're not helping. You're refusing people who are trying to help. But I would have never heard that if it wasn't for actual people who live in those areas reporting this on their own. Mm-hmm. So it's my big thing about the TikTok thing was I got to a point and I saw somebody say this and it was like, that's exactly what you mean. He said, think about it for a minute. The government never collectively decides on anything bipartisan. Mm-hmm. They did decide on a bipartisan agreement to ban TikTok so that Americans can't talk to each other and tell each other the truth. That's a fucking scary thought.
Well, and the other thing is like even besides that side of TikTok, you've also got people, I know people have mixed opinions on her, but like the Michaela girl.
They make their living
She
that way.
quit her job.
Yeah.
I just saw her video, I think it was before TikTok got banned, but then back. Her video, it was her not very first one, but one of her first ones that she was working at Ulta. She quit her job
looks so different.
Oh my God, she looks so different. But she quit her job at Ulta and became fully invested in TikTok, and that literally is how they make a living in her household.
Well, and so not only those,
so she basically is jobless,
they would be jobless. And
unemployed.
And because the other thing is, people don't understand that to monetize on Instagram, for instance, I was looking it up this morning because I personally have 4 TikTok accounts because I have 2 podcast accounts. I have a more personal account, and then I have an account where I literally teach you how to make coffee and different kinds of drinks.
Secret Sippin' Society.
Secret Sippin'. Yeah, if you want to know Secret Sippin' Society, I'll be teaching you how to make some coffee or some drinks of whatever. And so I share
and not like
the recipes.
Necessarily espresso, like Keurig.
No, like I use
Nespresso.
I
like
use
shit
the
like
Keurig
that.
or the Nespresso. Yeah, or I have the new Nescafe espresso stuff, which is if you can't pull espresso shots, that's what you need. But regardless, I go on there and I have over 1,000 followers on those accounts. So I can monetize by doing like TikTok shop stuff. Like I can share things. But if you get over 10,000 followers on TikTok, your videos are monetized. And if you make a 1 minute video, they pay you per view. Well, Instagram does the same thing. The thing is, Instagram pays you 5 fucking cents for like every 1,000 views, where TikTok's is a little bit different. And so people monetize, and it's easier to monetize on TikTok. And so change people's lives that way. The other part was the thing that affected that I thought, I was like, damn, it doesn't directly affect me, but it bothers me is, you know how many small business owners in the United States use TikTok on TikTok shop? They use TikTok
to fucked now. So.
Yeah, because Etsy, when you try to get into Etsy, it's
Etsy's a fucking joke at this point.
It is a joke, and the way they do things is so fucking trash. And I can personally speak from experience because I used to have an Etsy shop because I used to sell soap.
Etsy.
So fuck you, Etsy. I will never open another Etsy shop to sell
sued.
anything. I'm not getting sued. I'm spitting facts, bro. I'm spitting facts. God. Etsy is not a good place. It's not for handmade users anymore, which is what it started as. So people who make their own products, items, whatever, they can go to TikTok shop and sell them. They can go live to promote their products without having to pay for promotion. They can just go live. Like there's all these things that TikTok gave people. And it's not just Americans. It gave everybody. And it just blows my mind that we have the audacity to tell the American people in the land of the free, by the way, that we're going to tell you this can't happen.
Yeah, somebody had said that they were like, it's kind of like a violation of your First Amendment, right?
And I don't know if it's necessarily taking away our free. I can see the fight for that. I don't
necessarily 100% agree with that.
I don't think so. I can
see where they're trying to skew that.
Yeah, I can see how it might feel that way. I don't actually think that. What I think is we live in a very corrupt government run country, but we're really good. Our government's really good at pretending like we're not. So one other thing on that, and then we'll get into what we're talking about. The biggest issue on this whole thing was it was very suspicious how TikTok ban was signed into effect 2 months before the TikTok bans. If you go and look, because it's public fucking record, because our government officials are public fucking individuals. Their salaries are public record. Their stock trades are public record. Tell me why all the people involved in Stack. What? What? What did you say?
He said, tell me why. And then I said, ain't nothing but.
Tell me why. Tell me, though, why it is that for the 2 months prior to the actual date of the TikTok ban, most of your elected officials bought a shit ton of stock in Meta. That's my problem. And that's why I was like, fuck that. So I don't make money.
On that note, hooray TikTok. I'm glad you're back, baby.
We're glad.
Now I don't have to be bored as fuck.
Exactly. Because it's kind of like sometimes you just want to veg and not think.
Yes.
And TikTok is perfect for that.
And it's easy to scroll through videos instead of like fucking Instagram pictures and then a video.
Well, and Instagram Reels.
Or Facebook.
Instagram Reels has the Instagram thing where you can do the same thing, but their Reels just aren't as fucking good. They're just not as good. TikTok's different. It hits fucking different. Anyways. Thanks, TikTok, for bringing us people, because I'll tell you, our TikTok account, every time I post a new episode, we always get more followers and we get a lot of likes. So thank you, TikTok, for letting people know that we exist. Anyways, would you like to know who we're talking about?
I guess, since, that's technically what we're supposed to be talking about.
Okay, so we are talking about September 2004 in Phoenix, Arizona. A man named Jay Orbin is murdered by his wife, Marjorie Orbin.
Whoa.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I was researching this, your brother, because I was watching like an actual
like documentary
recording
thing?
of a recording of her interrogation, like when they were talking to her. No, I did watch that too. I watched a recording, listened to a recording of one of the detectives calling her.
Bitch is crazy, huh?
And it was literally a 5-minute phone call. And your brother looks at me and goes, "Oh, she's guilty." Literally based off just that conversation. So, which we'll get into it. So anyways, that's what we're talking about. But let's
interesting. It's been a hot, because I think the last time we did like a girl, it was a kid.
No, I think we did no. We did Valerie. Are
you
Pike
sure that wasn't with Dad? Oh,
yeah, she was the one who killed her husband.
The most recent one,
right,
was a child. I'm saying the last time we did a woman was a while ago.
No, I'm saying we just did a woman like 3 episodes ago.
Bro, I don't fucking remember.
Because this one kind of reminds me of that one. At first, when I started researching, I was like, this is not the same fucking person, is it? And then I realized it's not. So we're going to get into, obviously, a little bit of background about Marjorie. So
good old Marjorie.
Which...
What a fucking shit name.
Listen.
Sorry, people. I know that was a popular name during a certain time frame, but...
Ma'am, this was 2004. So, I mean, she was older. Let's not lie. Like, she's not like a young buck.
Still.
But, yeah, I mean, that sucks for her. I would hate my parents if they called me. If they named me Marjorie, I would be pissed. I'm not even gonna lie right now. So, especially because you think about it. Large Marge. Like, people could make that name for you if you're fat, right? That would suck.
Fatty Patty.
Fatty Patty. That sucks too. Anyways. Okay, so Marjorie, there's nothing about her early years, obviously, because that's just fucking how we do things here. But
I feel like that should just be how our podcast is. Like, you don't get to know anything about their background.
Never know about what they went through as a child.
And just fucking figure it out.
You just use your best
Use
guess.
your imagination.
So Marjorie meets Jay, which is her soon-to-be husband. But when she meets him, he's actually 26 years old when she meets him. And during this time, she's actually a stripper at a club in Las Vegas. And Jay would frequent this club because he was in the process of like trying to gain his career. So he would travel a lot and he would hit through Vegas a lot. And he would go into this strip club. She worked there. He thought she was great.
She's not Large Marge.
Okay,
no,
she's
continue.
Not. She's a beautiful woman. I'm not even gonna lie right now. She's very pretty. So he was smitten with her. And he would constantly be around to the point where like he would start buying private dances so that he could get to know her. And they would have all these different like conversations. And she thought he was like the nicest guy. And he ends up wanting Marjorie and him to be in a relationship, which it takes a little like convincing. But eventually she's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we can give it a shot. However, at the time, Jay was not very successful in the monetary world. And he wasn't really making enough money for her. Now, he was in the process of actually building his own business. But at the time, when you build a business, you're broke for a hot like 5 to 10 years. So he's trying to build the business. And Marjorie, prior to being a stripper, I do know this, prior to being a stripper, she actually would do like, she danced on cruise lines. She danced in shows. She was actually in a music video for Aerosmith or somebody. So she had done a lot of dancing, choreographed dancing type shit.
She looks really, she's your typical blonde, skinny, pretty girl.
Yeah,
really.
She is. But she was also talented. Stripper or not, she was talented in the dancing industry.
Right.
She did a lot of dancing. And so but the thing about her was she wanted to be rich. She wanted money.
Like we all do.
Okay. And so when she first met Jay, it was like he was coming in there spending money all the time on her.
So it looks like he's got a shit ton of money.
Right. No, and then when they're together, he doesn't have as much money as she wants him to have. And so she's kind of like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out. So Marjorie ends up leaving Vegas and she moves to Florida, which she had come from Florida. She had lived in Florida, moved to Vegas. Now she's back in Florida. And actually, when she's there, she actually meets a man named Michael J. Peter, and he is a multimillionaire. Now they end up being in a relationship, which completely satisfied Marjorie. Like, she was happy. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Michael. And he actually starts having multiple affairs with many women, and a lot of them look just like her. So that is
so how is it not enough?
Exactly. So it's frustrating for her. Like, how the fuck am I not enough? Every single girl that you're going out and like cheating on me with looks just like me. So what is missing? Yeah. So she ends up moving back to Las Vegas after her relationship to Michael ends because she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Vegas. So in 1993, Jay actually calls Marjorie and asks her if she wants to get a drink. And at this point, it has now been 10 years since they last saw each other. Okay. So they were in a relationship in 83 then, right? So, which again, when you look at the pictures of her back then, the 80s, her hair's the big
that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like the pictures
for
that
the
see,
time, you know that
she's one of your top fucking girls,
and
in
you
that
can
time
see
frame.
why in Vegas she was like the girl, right? Now, he tells her, they're on the phone and she's like, oh my God, I haven't heard from you for so long. And he's like, well, yeah, I was driving through Vegas because I'm in town and I saw a billboard. You were on it. And I was like, you know what? I should reach out to her. And he's like, so I want to know, do you want to just get together? I'm in town for like a day or so. Let's get to know, let's reconnect. Right. And she's just like, okay, yeah, like, sure. So they end up meeting up and they actually end up totally reconnecting. And Jay lives in Arizona. So he drives like to Vegas, that's not like a super crazy long drive. So he drives all around the world all around the United States at this point for his business. And he is due back in Arizona the following day. So they literally just spend the night like hanging out, reconnecting, having a good time. And then he leaves, but they do stay in touch. And Jay is now at that time, the owner of a very successful arts business. Like, so successful that he's like millionaire status. And his job is he drives around and whatever he's doing with the art dealings, he's killing it, right? Now, at this point in her life, Marjorie has been married at this point 7 different times.
God damn.
Because again, she was looking for some. She says she was looking for her Prince Charming. I say she was looking for the treasure. The
green Prince Charming.
Yeah, I don't think, because she said, I always thought that it was my Prince Charming and they always ended up not working out. And it's like, or they just didn't work out but I mean, the $1 millionaire guy, he was a piece of shit. So I could see that. Maybe that is what it is. I don't know. So they stay connected and they end up getting married not too long after this. Now, they actually got married at the Little White Wedding Chapel on Las Vegas Boulevard.
I know exactly where that is.
And life is really good for a little while. Marjorie stays home. She's basically a housewife, which shout out to my housewives, because that's what I do. I am a...
Fucking someday, Jesus, I'm tired of working already.
I did my job. I did my due diligence. I worked off and on raising our kids. Now my kids are full grown ass adults and my husband works. And I said, would you like me to get a job? And he said, no. Why would I argue with that? I don't want to have to work because 1, I'll probably strangle the fuck out of people I work with. And 2, what? I get to do this now. I get to research true crime and serial killers. And then I get to be there to travel with him. So shout out to my housewives, not stay at home moms, because I was one of those. But when your kids get old and you've been a stay at home mom for half their life, what are you supposed to do with yourself? You become a housewife.
That's when you become an alcoholic and a gambler and
true, but I don't have
smoker and all
That's
that.
why I go to Disney so much, okay? Fuckers.
And the casino.
That's true. So Jay works. He makes more than enough money for them to live their life. He also, they want to have a baby. Okay. Now, Marjorie was told at a very young age she was not going to be able to have children. She was going to, well, maybe not, but she was going to struggle with trying to conceive.
Is not as high.
And so she's actually very honest with Jay about this and tells him, like, I want to have kids, but I don't know if I can. So what does Jay do? He pays for fertility treatments for her to try to have a baby. And she does actually end up getting pregnant, and she does have a little boy. They have a little boy together. And so now, like, life is good. She's a mom. She is a wife. Her husband works full time. He travels a lot for work, but he's doing the thing. She's doing the thing. Their son is now like 8 years old, right? So like this is the life that she has always wanted, because Jay dotes on her, I guess, right? Like he loves her. Mm-hmm. Well, the last known communication that anybody had with Jay was by his mother on September 8th of 2004. She calls him to wish him a happy birthday. And he tells her that he is on his way back home to Phoenix from Florida and that he will call her later that night, and he never calls her. So she actually his mom continues to try to reach out to Jay. He doesn't respond. So after a week, she actually starts to worry about him, and she calls Marjorie. And she's
I'm
like,
actually shocked she would have taken that long to call Marjorie.
well, if he was like, you never know if he's traveling or not, right? So she calls Marjorie and she's like,
right, but this is the
I mean,
early
to be fair, I
2000s,
can't
like,
say that she didn't. It just didn't say that she did. She might have reached out to Marjorie before. I don't know. So after talking with Marjorie, Marjorie's like, no, like, he's fine. He's just on a business trip and he's really busy. Like, I saw him when he came back. He had to he immediately turned around, went to another business trip. And like, he's busy. Which the whole time I'm doing this article, I'd literally fucking cut your dad's neck open. And I mean that sincerely with my chest.
The government,
didn't fucking
he's alive. He's not dead. He's literally sitting in the living room. I just went and checked on him. Please don't fucking have the cops show up to my parents' house.
Because this is 2004, bitch. You have phones. You have cell phones. Fucking call me. Let me know you're alive. Okay, I'm not even playing right now. When your dad travels and I am not with him, if I don't get updates,
I'm not reiterating the story. If you want to hear the story about
no, we don't need no.
Freaking
You
the
guys
fuck out. Listen to the last episode.
Yeah, listen to the last episode. I'm a freak when it comes to him, and it's not because I think he's out cheating on me,
bro. And we have this app for any of you that know the app. We have Life 360, which is a circle that you create with like friends and family. And it shows you their location. If you want, you can ping location so that it automatically notifies you. So like my parents' house, if any of us drive to my parents' house, it'll go bing, like Sierra arrived at, parents' house or whatever. So she can check his location 24/7.
When I can't get a hold of him,
so
I check his location. This is
part of the reason why I told them they need to have the Life 360 app.
When I can't get a hold of him, I look at his location, not because I don't trust but I do know that if he's at work, because he works in downtown LA when he's traveling, that he gets really shitty reception. So then I know, he's probably not able to respond. So anyways, my point is, if my husband's not calling me for a week and he's on a fucking trip, he'll be dead when he comes home. So I got you, Marjorie.
Government, he's still alive.
I mean, I
promise.
Why the fuck would I kill him? He
has life insurance.
He is my sugar daddy.
That's fucking gross. You know what? This podcast is done. People, this is the last episode you'll ever hear of me.
No, but I'm saying, like, why would I kill him? My life totally changes if he dies, because I'm sure he has life insurance, but that's not continually coming in, whereas he works a job, so that money continually comes in. So like, I'd have to go get a job. So yeah, no, thank you. Anyways, so
bro, dad, I'm sorry. If you're listening, I'm sorry.
So after another week goes by and his mom still has not heard from him, nobody in his family has heard from him. They literally tell Marjorie, like, something's wrong. He has not contacted anybody for 2 weeks. You need to file a missing persons report. Maybe he got into an accident. Maybe he's on the side of the road dead because we're in the middle of the desert here. Maybe he crashed. Maybe he had a heart attack. Like, we need to put out a missing persons report.
Well, in early 2000s, even though you had cell phones, reception how it is now versus back in 2000.
Yeah, four.
Yeah. That's totally fucking different.
And you didn't have the ability to track somebody's location like that in 2004.
I mean, fuck, this is going to sound really ridiculous, but the casino that we have up here, literally, I'd probably say 2 years ago, couldn't get a single fucking bar of reception. Now I get full reception in the casino.
Yeah, I never used to either. It's just the way it changes. Right. So I get it. So they tell her that. Now, his mom said the reason she pushed for this is because in all the times that he's gone on business trips, he always stayed in contact with his family. His mom and him would talk regularly. He would talk to his other family members while he was on his trips.
So it was very abnormal.
So it's very weird that he had not contacted them for 2 weeks. So Marjorie's like, okay, fine, yeah. So she ends up reporting Jay missing. Now, she tells them that he came to Phoenix, which is where they live, after being on a business trip to Florida, but that he had turned around, left again for another trip right away. So the detective, the police officer she's talking to is like, okay, well, can you give me his license plate number along with like basic information, like the make and model of his car, all the things that we could have, so we could do like a bolo on him and then see if we can track him down, find out if, whatever.
At least like his vehicle and then kind of go from there.
Right. And she's like, and I need to know like, where was he headed so that we can have a better understanding of where to even start looking, who to contact. To which Marjorie says, I absolutely can. I'm going to have to go collect all that information. Like, I don't know. Like, I can vouch. I don't know I don't know
Bro,
my
I don't know my
license
license plate number.
Right. I don't know any
I
of
can
that.
tell you what car I drive. Couldn't tell you the license
I couldn't.
number.
Right.
VIN
So
number. Fuck,
that's what
no.
she's saying. Is she's like, let me go get all that information.
Right.
And then I'll call you back. And she's like, cool. Okay. Well, she never calls him back. So as a matter of fact, the police leave three messages asking her to return the phone call. And then she finally does return one phone call. Now, I listened to that recording. That's the one where your
brother.
Yeah, where your brother was like, she's oh yeah, she's guilty. So here's why that was what he said. Because when you listen to it, she is so fucking defensive and she is not helpful at all. And during the phone call, she is actually asked by the detective that's talking to her if she would be willing to do a polygraph, because they're kind of like, the first thing the detective says to her is like, I'm so glad that you finally called back. It just kind of seems to me like you're not really interested in helping us with this like search for your husband. And she immediately goes, how dare you accuse me, which again was not an accusation. It's a fact. You didn't call them back with the information. And she said, you're sitting here accusing me of something. Like, what the hell are you accusing me of? And she's like, I'm not accusing you of anything. What I'm saying is we need basic information to help.
I can if you'd like. Yeah. However.
And she immediately goes on the defensive. And then she's like, well, I am a mother and I have to take my children or my child. I have responsibility. Just boom, ba boom, ba boom. And then finally she's like, what do I have to do? Do I have to come down and take a polygraph test or something? Like, she's really angry. And the detective was like, well, what I was wondering is if there would be time where, we could talk a little bit on the phone right now. And she goes, well, I thought I was supposed to be coming down to the police department like tomorrow or whatever. And she's like, well, you are, but I have you on the phone right now so that we can start doing some researching or searching and investigating. I'd like to get this information. She's like, well, how much time do you want me to give you? Like, she's just pissed. And then at one point, the detective asks her if she would be willing to do a polygraph test, to which she says, they're asking me to do a fucking polygraph test. And a man's voice in the background says, tell her to fuck off. Tell her, because the detective was a woman, tell her to fuck off or to go fuck herself. That is a man in the background. Well, when the man's voice comes out, the detective says, who was that? And she said, that's Larry. He's my friend. And then she starts talking about so the detective keeps talking more. And she's like, is he your boyfriend? Or like, how is this? And she goes, well, you know what? Jay and I have been divorced for about 5 or 6 years. So if you really want to sit there and talk to me about something that happened 5 or 6 years ago, then I don't know what you want from me. And she goes, wait, you guys are divorced? And Marjorie's like, yeah, we divorced like 5 or 6 years ago. And she goes, well, why didn't you tell me that the first time I talked to you when we were talking about, you said your husband was missing. And she goes, well, we've lived together. We have a mutual understanding. We divorced and we agreed to live together and stay married, but not legally married. So she's just all like, that's her explanation. And then she's asked,
married, but not okay.
Or get divorced, but stay married. Yeah.
Okay.
So she says that, and she's like, he's one of my good friends. Okay. So now she's not really calling him her husband anymore. Right. So it's very, like I said, it's very, very fucking like all over the place and defensive. She claims that basically, yes, that her and her and Jay had divorced like 5 years ago. But when they divorced, they agreed that they were actually going to stay together. Some of the things that have been reported is that she said they divorced for tax reasons, which actually would make sense because he made so much fucking money, and see, she didn't make any money. So if you divorce, right, legally, she can file taxes on no income basically, and child care and all the things could go towards her, and she gets a fat ass fucking refund every single year.
Right.
Whereas he's making millions and he's paying out the ass for taxes. Right. So I get that concept, but she says we were still living as husband and wife, but we were not legally married. Again, not information that she gave in the beginning. And so they were kind of like, this is kind of weird. So what they discover is that while Jay is missing and while the investigation is going on, Marjorie has a man named Larry Weisberg move into her home, which is the man that is heard on the phone call, which seems real fucking sus in the first place. This is like just he's been missing for like 2 weeks, and now this dude's like living in her home. So they also notice that she's not actively looking for Jay. She's not assisting in any of the areas that would assist in looking for Jay. She is not helping in the police investigation. She's avoiding phone calls. She's refusing to answer questions. And they also find that she does, however, have time to spend $12,000 on a baby grand piano. They also find that she takes $45,000 worth of like money from his business accounts. Okay, so they're seeing these things happen, but nothing, like she's not crying. She's not anything. So they do end up getting a search warrant for her home, and they search her home. And they find that all of his personal belongings, like his credit cards, his business checkbooks, those are all still at the house. And that's a very big red flag because those are all the things that he would have taken with him had he actually gone on a business trip. His cell phone records also and credit card records showed that he did actually make it back to Phoenix from Florida. So his last like credit card usage and his last
known whereabouts
were in Phoenix. So at this point, they think he's not missing. He's dead. Like this is no longer a missing person. This is somebody, we're trying to recover a body because this man is definitely not alive. So on October 23rd in 2004, I don't know what the fuck it is with this. A man finds a Rubbermaid container.
I know it's not a Tupperware. Don't worry.
But why, people?
That was the brand, man. That was the brand back in the day. Now it's like Snap Pro or whatever the fuck it is.
So this man is walking through the desert and he finds this Rubbermaid container sitting in the desert and he goes over to it as one
Motherfucker. No. If I'm in the middle of the goddamn desert.
He was homeless. So that makes, I guess I should point out.
I was like, if I was in the middle of the goddamn desert and I saw that, I'd be like 911. Hello, there's a fucking bomb.
No,
like,
he's homeless. So he's probably just looking for some shit that he can take to move on with his life. Right. So he goes over to it, opens it up, and he finds a torso. Do you think there's a chance that Marjorie and fucking the guy from our last one, Steven, like knew each other? Because like, how the fuck
they were in cahoots.
Both of us, like for real, both of you put torsos in fucking Rubbermaid containers?
Both the same time frame too?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I'm saying. Like, anyways.
Two completely different sides of the United States. But
But still, that's so weird, right?
They were pen pals.
So the police immediately are called. Obviously, this guy's like, what the fuck? He calls the cops. The cops come out. They see this. They open this up. They find a torso, a wad of cash, and a single bullet all in this container. And all of his internal organs were missing.
Damn.
And it was found as they're like bringing his torso to like the medical examiners and stuff. They do find that his body had been frozen before dismemberment. Like they can tell. I don't know how they can tell, but they fucking could tell that he had been frozen, and no other body parts were found. Okay. So just his torso. But because we are in the year of the fucking 2000s, we have DNA. So they just use some DNA to find out who this torso is. And they find out that this is in fact Jay Orbin's torso. And 3 weeks after this, Marjorie is actually caught at Circuit City, which for those of you who don't know, Circuit City was an electronics store back in the early like 2000s. And
I was young, but I remember.
It's like Best Buy, but
yeah,
they had a lot of computer stuff. So she was there and she was actually forging Jay's signature on some purchases. And the Circuit City people were like, you're definitely not Jay.
Yeah.
And you're not an authorized user on this account. So they called the cops. And so, because it's a lot. I mean, I think she was buying like computers or something. And she supposedly said that her reason for doing that was because she was just replacing the things that the cops had taken from her house so that his business could continue. That's what she was saying. But she wasn't an authorized user on the account. So she wasn't allowed to actually legally do that. So on December 6th, 2004, she's in, they're talking, they're doing all this stuff. They end up charging her with first-degree murder, 2 counts of theft, and 2 counts of fraudulent schemes and artifices. I don't know what that is, but basically they charged her with his murder, 2 counts of theft, which I think came from the fact that she was taking money like out of his accounts, and then 2 counts of fraudulent schemes because she was trying to buy stuff under.
I'm assuming that's where the artifacts come in.
I don't know what that word is. So I don't know. Sure. So the prosecution accuses Marjorie of killing Jay on September 8th of 2004 because she wanted him out of her life and she wanted his money. Now, this is why they think that she dumped the body so close to home, because their thought is that She wanted his body to be found so that he would be declared dead and she would get his life insurance and his
She'd be
estate.
the widow.
Yeah. And when he just disappeared, he can't be like, you have to be
Nothing can be
gone
confirmed without a body.
Well, and there's like I don't know if states differ, but you got to be gone for a certain amount. It's like years before you can legally be declared dead. So it was like, well, the best way to have him declared dead is to like let his body be found.
Right.
And so they were saying that. They also said that what they thought happened was that she had shot Jay in the garage of the home and froze his body, then dismembered him. And then they said that there was 2 jigsaw blades that were used to dismember him, they believe, because the cuts to the torso were the same as like what you would see in a jigsaw. And in his garage, there was a brand new pack of jigsaws, like blades, that 2 were missing out of them.
Mm.
Now, they also stated that Marjorie had cleaned the garage, and they knew this because there were receipts for mops and cleaning products that were bought the day after Jay supposedly went missing. And it is believed that she acid washed the floor of the garage and then she epoxied it, which then would have made it impossible to find any traces of blood. So all this is kind of like circumstantial, right? These are all the things that you're kind of like, well, yeah, but you could make a case for something else, right? Now, 2 days after Jay's disappearance, there is surveillance video of her buying 2 Rubbermaid containers from Lowe's. She used Jay's credit card, and the prosecution testified that not only do they know 100% that those 2 were bought by her because it's on video, but they also know that the Rubbermaid container that his torso was found in literally matched the UPC symbol code thingy on the receipts from Lowe's. So she bought that 100%. So there you go. That's the link. Like right there, you're charged with murder. Period. Like this is this is what we're going to say. Now, they also had claimed that she had a former cellmate that wanted to testify. And the claim was that Marjorie supposedly had told her cellmate that she had killed Jay and that he was fat and disgusting. And then she supposedly said Jay was shot, frozen, de-thawed, and his arms, legs, and head were cut off. However, I will side note this and say that it did come out later that this said cellmate was offered a plea deal type thing in exchange for this testimony. And she did come out later and say that Marjorie never actually told her that. Take that up for what you fucking want. I don't know. Now, her boyfriend, Larry, was actually offered immunity in this scenario, which means that nothing he says can be used against him. So they said, like, you'll have immunity. We need you to tell us what happened with Jay. And we need to tell you, you need to tell us what Marjorie did. And his response was, I have no idea what happened to Jay. I was not involved. I don't even know anything about it. So that's his response, which is an interesting response because if he knew anything, he wouldn't have gone to jail. Like there was not, so him telling the truth would have done nothing. It would have done nothing at all to him. So it's weird to me that because the defense is the other side. The defense is actually saying that Larry killed Jay. If the defense is saying Larry killed Jay, why? I mean, and Jay's saying like, I know nothing. And also Jay has immunity. Why would he not just tell them what really happened if he really knew? I mean, he could literally look at him and say, I killed him. And they can't do anything about it.
Right.
So I don't really know if he had anything to do with it. But what the defense says is that first of all, they're pissed off because they're like, why would you offer immunity to Larry when he was one of your other suspects? Like, why would you give him full immunity to turn on Marjorie? Like that, why? That's asinine, which I actually agree with. But what they said was that the police had found that Larry had a remote to the garage of Jay's home. To which I say, yeah, of course he did. He was fucking Marjorie, for God's sakes. That was like, yeah, he had the ability to get into the house. Well, and then he ended
up moving in.
Yeah, and then he moved in. So of course he's going to have, so he had the ability because he was living there. So there's that. Then, okay, so eventually, and that's literally their only thing is they literally say like, but he had a garage door opener to Jay's house. So he had the ability to go there and just shoot and kill Jay. That's your one.
Okay, I have a garage door to this house.
Like
that's a one, here.
Right? Like that's your one piece of evidence. Okay, so eventually Marjorie is actually found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, 2 counts of theft of $100,000 or more, and 2 counts of fraudulent schemes. Now, she is sentenced to life for murder and a concurrent 5 years for each of the remaining accounts. Or
fraudulent
counts.
schemes, by the way, I was just thinking about this. It's probably the forging of shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that. Well, and the 2 counts probably means she was buying 2 like pieces of property or whatever.
That
like
or
2 computers
or
did it
just
twice.
different twice. Yeah.
Now that means that she got life in prison plus 5, 10, 15, 20 years on the other counts.
Okay.
Now, Marjorie has since come out and said that Larry was the one who killed Jay and that she helped him cover it up. Now, she did this like 48 hours diary. Like she did video diaries from jail where she says this stuff. So she says that the 2 men got into an argument because Jay had come home early from a trip. Like he had left to go to Florida. Truly, she says. He had left to go to Florida. Right around that time, there was a hurricane coming into Florida. So he actually turned around and came back home. Well, when he came back home, Larry was there. And she said they got into an argument. She said that she heard a gunshot and that she never actually saw Jay's body. She said that she did not dismember his body. Larry is the one who got rid of the body as well. She also continues to say that the death was accidental. No motherfucking ma'am, it was not, because he was shot in the head. Accidental is like you punch somebody in the face and like they die from internal bleeding in their brain or something. Like that's an accident.
I personally would even consider it accidental if y'all were like getting into a scuffle and then the gun went off,
right?
I'd even consider that accidental.
Right, but there wasn't like that's not what she's saying,
right?
You know, so she's basically saying that so she had said in one of her things, she was like, a very, very good, loving, caring man has died and a piece of shit is letting me take the fall for it. And so she's sitting, but then yet she continues to say like, it was a terrible, tragic accident. No, it wasn't an accident. He was shot in the fucking, like, well, actually, I don't know because they don't know where, but he was shot. Obviously, it was not a fucking accident.
Right.
So she did appeal in 2011, but it was denied. And the last recorded anything about her is that she is serving her sentence in Arizona State Prison Complex in Perryville. And she swears to this day she did not kill him. She is upset because their son is living with Jay's brother, I think. And she said, my son has told all these terrible things about me that aren't true. Now, I don't know. Because honestly, when I first was researching this, I was like, it just seems like, I'm not saying that she killed him because I don't know.
I think she was an accomplice.
That's what I was going to say. So my thing is, the proof is, here's how I feel. Whether you killed him or not, because maybe you did not, and maybe Larry did, because that has definitely happened before too. Mm-hmm. Maybe you did not dismember his body. Maybe you had nothing to do with it other than going and buying stuff to clean up the crime scene and to get rid of the body. You're still an accomplice. You still deserve to be in jail. Period. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things the prosecutor said, and I agree with this is why they continue to press charges on her, as they said. So you really want us to believe that your boyfriend showed up at your house, or vice versa. Your husband came back, your boyfriend was there. They go in the garage and start arguing. You hear a gunshot. You never go out there. You're saying you never walked out in that garage to see what happened. Bullshit. You never called the cops. Bullshit. You lied about him missing for weeks. That's why we don't think that you're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And her response is, I was scared of Larry. He told me that he was going to kill my son if I said anything. And she said that he had told her son, I guess, too, like, I'll kill you. And her son came out and said that didn't happen. So there's a lot of things that she says that are not, they're not stacking up. But I can't definitively say that she's the one who actually killed him. What I can say is I agree with her defense attorneys. I do not think that Larry Weisberg should have been given immunity. I think that there should have been a little bit more of, let's dig into this a little bit. But the only proof they had against him was the fact that there was a garage door opener.
See, and for him, I feel like if it were me, even if they said you have immunity, I still wouldn't fucking tell you the truth.
But it shocks me that he didn't say that she did it. You know what I mean? Like to me,
she didn't.
That's what I'm saying is, to me.
Because like, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was in the same situation And they came to me and they said, you have immunity. So basically anything you
say can't be
you
used.
could look at us and tell us you're the one
Right.
that killed him. Nothing's going to happen to you. I'd still be like, I don't fucking believe anything you're saying. And I wouldn't tell them the truth.
So my thing is, I think that too, because I sit there and I go,
because I think he's trying to be like, well, I'm not saying it's her, but I'm not saying it's not.
Because my thing is this: you were given immunity, and you're saying I don't know anything. Most people, if you, I mean, literally, if you know that your girlfriend killed her husband and you know that you can't get in trouble for it, you're going to at least maybe tell them that. Like, I don't know if she killed him, but I definitely know that she was panicked one night, or tell him something. But for him to just, nope, I know nothing. That tells me that, sir, you know a lot. And it might be that you killed him, but you don't want to say anything that would negate her or give any sort of clue that you might have had something to do with it. So instead you just stay quiet. And I agree with that. But I do still think she should be in prison, because regardless, she didn't get help. She helped get rid of the body, whether she physically did it or whatever. She went and bought cleaning supplies. She cleaned up the mess in the garage after he died. She did all these things to hide it. And then that's all part of being, and you deserve to be in jail just as much as anybody else. So anyways, that's Marjorie Orbin. A lot of our cases, I swear to God, are husbands and wives.
No shit.
I swear that's all I can find right now is like a husband and wife scenario. And I'm just like, can we get some, I mean, I'm sure I could find others if I dig deeper, but regardless. So that's the story of Marjorie Orbin, and who is in jail and is going to be there probably for the rest of her life, because there is, like, every appeal is denied. And that's where it be at. So if you like the Crime Bitches podcast and you like hanging with us and listening to us, click the links or click the follows. If you're not following us, if you are, thank you. We appreciate you. And this is where I'm going to say, I will catch you on the flip side, bitches.
Bye, bitches.